Hello, in this video, we will look at constructing and using objects. To construct an object, this is the syntax. Give the class name and the object name to declare it. So in this case, the class Noah constructor is invoked to create the object. So for example, this is so-called one is created using Noah constructor. So if you have this class name, object name with the arguments and the specific constructor that takes the arguments is used. Here is for this so-called 2 is created and with the specified radius. After you have objects created, you can access the member of the object using the dot operator. So this is object name dot data field and object name dot function to invoke it. So now this is important. We're going to talk about this more in the future, but now let's just mention it. Data field radius is referred to as an instance member variable or simply instance variable because it is dependent on a specific instance. For the same reason, the function getArea refers to as an instance member function or instance function because you can invoke it only on a specific instance. The object on which an instance function is called a calling object. This is the naming convention we're going to use for this book for when you define your custom classes. We're going to use the first the letter uppercase for the class name. So for every word, the first letter is uppercase. Geometric object, desk. So this is the naming convention we're going to stick with. Use the consistent naming convention will help you and other people reading a program to read it and make this process reading easy. And also this just make future maintenance easy. The following points on classes and objects are worth noting. I think I want to mention all of this. Here is important. You can use primitive data types to define variables. You can also use class names to declare object names. In this sense, a class is also a data type. So that is for object-oriented programming, a class is actually a data type. But further, it's normally called an abstract data type. So why it's abstract? Because the implementation of the class can be hidden from the user. So that's something you don't have to know. It's kind of abstraction there. But we call it, this is a data type. A class is a data type. In C++, you can use the assignment operator to copy the contents from one object to the other. So this is what you do by default. Each data field of one object is copied to its counterpart. It is so-called a shallow copy. We will introduce deep copy when it's needed, but for now, that's all you need to know. That's sufficient. Object names are like array names. Once an object name is declared, it represents an object. It cannot be reassigned to represent another object. You can change the content, but not the object itself. In this sense, an object name is a constant, though the contents of the object may change. An object contains data and may invoke functions. This may lead you to think that an object is quite large. It isn't. Data are physically stored in an object, but functions are not. Since functions are shared by all objects of the same class, so all the objects of the same class can invoke that function, the compiler creates just one copy for sharing, you can find out the actual size of an object using the size of function. So for example, this is the objects circle 1, and this is object circle 2. Now you can find out what is the size of circle 1 and size of circle 2. Usually you create a named object and let it access its members through its name. Occasionally, you may create an object and use it only once. In this case, you don't have to name it. Such objects are called anonymous object. So here's an example. You can have anonymous object. See, this is the just creating this anonymous object using NOAA constructor. So, and this creating the anonymous object using this constructor with specified arguments. So here, example for this circle. And so now, this one here, it's interesting. You create a circle 1, you copy the circle. Let's create a circle object, copy a circle 1. This is create object, circle 5, copy it in circle 2, circle 1. This is just an example. It's not actually you're using it. Here is the one. So this is circle dot area. So this is circle does not have a name. So that is all for this section on constructing and using objects. See you on the next video.